Alright, what's going on everybody and welcome back. We've got the GSL semi-finals. Maru on the bottom right side of the map. The man who has never lost to his opponent finds himself in an incredibly favorable semi-finals. His opponent in the top left, it is Shin. Shin on an absolute tear right now. Literally cleaving through the RSL, cleaving through the GSL like a hot knife through butter. He has been absolutely brutal. It's really cool. This is what Shin does. Disappears for a month or two from playing many weekly cups. Goes into his little hyperbaric chamber, trains up, thinks about some builds, comes out and starts murdering everybody. Heck, even if we go back 2 months to Pigstarcraft, guys, sorry, not Pigstarcraft, Pigfest, the big pig tournament, not the weekly cup, Shin actually bullied the heck out of Maru there. He destroyed Maru's mech with Ling Ultra. I kid you not, he was wrecking him with Lingbane Muta into Ultras. Sickest style ever. Of course, Maru comes back from down 70 supply and wins that game as he always does and ends up winning the series. I think it was 3-1. I'm not sure if anyone remembers the score in Pigfest. Maybe it was 3-0? It was one of those series where, like, Shin is bullying Maru multiple games and Maru, like, either doesn't drop a map or drops one map out of multiple games he's getting his butt kicked in. And I was just like, well, Maru versus Shin continues to be a matchup which Shin can just never win. Now, to be fair, years ago, Shin would get bullied by Maru. The fact that Shin is bullying Maru and Maru's having to dig deep into late game mech comebacks like RSL at the end of last year, I think it was in RSL on... What's Avex's map? Botanicals, right? Botanicals? There was that map where he was way up with Swarmhost Nidus and Maru made that insane mech comeback as well. So it's been like good 6 to 8 months now of Shin actually having an advantage over Maru in a lot of situations in game. He just can't convert and he can't finish him off. He falls off rather massively. What's wrong with the sound? There's someone in chat. Guys, let me know if there's any sound issues. Hopefully that's just that one person who needs to refresh their browser, but I would want to fix that up very early during a cast if there is an issue. Now, this is a 2-Rax Reaper on the high ground opening, guys. This is not a good opening usually. And yet he's decided, I want to do 2-Rax Reaper, but I don't want to... Oh, because this wall-off is very exposed. Very wide open wall-off, very dangerous wall-off. So he's doing 2-Rax Reaper, but on the high ground. This also, because Shin doesn't see the barracks, he thinks this is a normal build until he sees the command center is late. And he's already gone for the third hatchery. His ling speed only now starting. Well, it's still a pretty quick ling speed, to be fair. One Zergling does go down, guys. But the Queen will pop out and, of course, defend this. Maru will not be able to get another one. Maru's multitasking, for those who don't know, is the best it's been in a long time. He's in a sports physiotherapy clinic at the moment. I know we've talked about this a lot, but I remember just thinking, man, his multitasking is so good, and he's at one with a lot of professional athletes. Apparently go there for all sorts of physio, and his shoulder is the best it's been in a long time. Hence, Maru has been forgetting how to lose recently, beating Cyril multiple times after years of getting dominated by him. Hadn't beat him a lot since the online era, and it's kind of cool to see Maru back in form, even though Cyril did overcome him in Pigfest in the rematch in the grand finals, and rather dominantly so. The lead-up matches to that point were, of course, quite Maru-favored, which was really cool to see. Ooh, Crypt Tumor Snipe, that's good. 16 more Zerglings. Shin! Guys, 16! I mean, I think he's seen the 4th Reaper and he's overreacted here. 4 Reapers is a pretty decent game. This is not 5, this is not 6 Reapers. I do not think you need 30 Zerglings to deal with that. These Reapers, of course, probably don't get home, and the SCVs are exposed on the natural. If Maru can't get Hellions, oh god, he might... Okay, I mean, maybe the Lings is the correct call, because, I mean, there's no wall-off. It's one of these things where Maru's like, I've baited you into massing Lings by not building a wall-off, noob. And Shin's like, but you don't have a wall-off. And Maru's like, oh crap, I forgot my wall-off. I'm joking, of course, but he really needs those Hellions. They're not out. The Reapers are all going to go down. He's got one Zergling that, of course, hunts that last Reaper down. The Hellions are going to pop. Maru quickly... Oh my gosh, he gets the depop at the very last second. But that's okay. Okay, he does survive here. He's got a 3rd command center coming up. The Hellions can't really afford to go down that ramp, though, because if he gets Lings hot on his tail and he doesn't get a chance to raise the depot, the Hellions will have to drive all the way to the mineral line, hide between the minerals, use the SCVs to buffer. He might lose 10 SCVs. Once he has 4 Hellions, he can secure this ramp much easier. You hold the Hellions in formation. Only 3 or 4 Lings can attack at a time, and it works out quite well. But, oh, he's not quite solid. Those Hellions getting surrounded. Maru, what was that? Micro! Bad micro on those Hellions, but, oh, maybe it was calculated? Did he just only lose 2 SCVs and no other units? Okay, Maru's a god. Never mind, guys. I'm just going to stop doubting Maru and Clem when they do what, like, to me, that looks like a huge mistake. I'm like, the Hellions are getting surrounded by the Lings. The SCVs are exposed. He hasn't got back to the choke point. Turns out all of his units get damaged, almost none die, and it was perfectly calculated. Kind of baited shit in. I don't know, man. It did look risky. I'm going to say Maru maybe got a little lucky there. A little lucky. Because even he, I don't think, is good enough to know that would have worked out that well. I'm going to be... And then I know there's a Maru lover in the comments who's already like, Pig doesn't understand how great Maru's brain is. He calculated that. I'm like, I don't know, man. I love Maru. I don't know if I believe he calculated that. There's a lot of variables in StarCraft too, and I don't know if he was able to do that, man. Roachron's on the way along with the Lair, so link speed into Roach is something Shin's been a big fan of recently. Ruby Rock's a pretty good tank push map, so Ravagers, of course, are the counter to tank pushers on these small maps. Oh, is he gonna get it? Nice, gets the Banshee. Because if they put a tank here, they put these tanks on these corners, being able to run up and just bile them with a Ravager, it really limits those pushes. Now, Maru's gone Raven. Dude, is he just memeing today? Raven is the weakest build order in the TVZ arsenal. This is called... Everyone always goes, why don't people do this? And we always point out the Raven's too slow. So the problem is, Hellions are good at clearing creep because they get there before the Queens are ready, clear the creep, run away. Marines with Stim, same thing. The problem the Raven has is even though if you keep it alive for 15 minutes, it gets crazy value, is even the best Terrans like Maru almost never keep this Raven alive for even... If it's alive at 10 minutes, I'd say this Raven's worth it. I very much doubt it will be. The Terran players, even the best in the world, really struggle to keep this Raven alive. And often they'll clear creep and you go, well, they didn't have to scan, that's good. But usually, because it's so slow on the tempo, the Queens are replacing the creep before it's really receded. So it's a very minimal... It slows the creep rather than really clears it, right? Because it's so easy for the Queens to move over and replace it, and the Raven's not quick to rotate. It's not terrible, but it's not the big impact some players are looking for. Carapace is on the way, second Evo as well. 74 drones! And he's got no roaches. Okay, Shin, are we dead? Are we dead? Roaches are amazing against all these units, but it's not that many Marines. It's like 13, 12 Stim Marines coming in here. 6 Hellions, 1 Raven, 2 Medevacs. Anti-armor missile could be a real problem. Queens going after the Raven. The Raven goes down. It does get 2 auto turrets before it goes down. The drones on the base could be taking damage. The hatchery itself is actually getting clicked. So Maru's going to kill the hatchery. Can he, though? Ooh, roaches come out. He does kill the hatchery. I don't think that's enough damage. I think the Queens and the drones would have been better. Not to mention, here are the Zerglings with a big run by getting 3 or 4 SCVs, potentially getting a depot there as well. Tank does siege on that. It's going to force that third to lift. The Roaches and the Queens do defend. As long as Shin instantly rebuilds his hatchery, he's good, but he doesn't instantly rebuild it. Maru! 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 Oh my god! What the heck? Maru tried to stim in with his Marines, focused down an extra Queen and Roaches, didn't lift his command center. I think he might have thought he'd cancelled the SCVs and lifted it. I'll need to check the replay, guys. So what happens is sometimes a Terran player, they think they cancel all the SCVs, they press lift and they look away, but he actually still had 1 SCV in the queue. And if you have something building, the lift doesn't do anything. It will not lift off while it's in production. You have to cancel the units before it lifts off. So I think Maru must have quickly pressed some buttons on his keyboard, assumed it was about to lift off, but his screen's already jumped somewhere else. And that is a huge mistake because now he's got tanks in the open as well. If these Lings get on top of these tanks, that's a problem. The Marines are there, though. And this is a 4-base Zerg. Now, admittedly, this base rebuilt very slowly for Shin, and he lost a bunch of mining time transferring workers, but he's still on 3 bases mining. If this third was mining, I think Maru's fine here. As it is, Carapace +2 is actually ahead of the +2/2 of Maru. It's a big Roach army out. Maru needs to leave his tanks at home, and I don't really like this tank positioning. I kind of wish he had a few more tanks, but he needs them all in a tight formation here, and he needs to defend them from a potential 1-1 Roach roll. You see, he's scanning because he's trying to figure out, are you teching 4-base Infestation Pit, maybe Broodlords, maybe Ultras, playing 85 drones, or are you going to go for a 1-1 Roach Ravager Zergling all-in, which is what we can see. It is a Roach Ravager Zergling all-in, right? He's making Lings, he's making Roaches, he's going to use Zerglings to absorb the tank shots. Roach Ravager's going to come in from all sides. Maru's building a few libs, he's trying to pump bio. I don't think he can defend the numbers. That being said, Shin has to hit pretty soon. SCVs will have to pull to tank in this push. He needs to pull bio up here, pull SCVs here, and try to block the Ravagers getting in range of these tanks. If these Ravagers get the bios on the tanks early in the fight, it's game over. The tanks are your ranged firepower. The tank in the high ground in the back, probably not the best tank. Oh my god, these tanks on the right, massively exposed. Maru very slow to stim as well. Poor reaction for Maru. Did not see the units on the right, only on the left. 2 of his tanks have gone down almost instantly. Yes, he pushes back the Ravagers on the left side, but he's already lost most of his tanks, so now the Marines have to try and dodge biles. The SCVs are in the middle of combat. You can see Roaches on the right side killing the Marine rally as well. And Maru is getting overrun, losing his third mining time. He does lift the command center this time. He's losing the mining time. He's losing the depots. Can he even stabilize in the natural? I'm not quite sure. The Ravager count is huge. Remember, these guys can break the concave of Marines. He can spread biles, and Maru has to spend just as much time dodging biles as he does actually engaging. Corrosive biles land. 2 libs do go down to the corrosive biles. Other ones spreading across the Hellbat bio line. And there's no need for Shin to push in. Shin can go infestation, drone up here. He's already got the infestation. He can go hive. He can go spire. He can go infestors, corruptors, anything like that. In this sort of game, you know Maru's going to desperately doom drop because his only way back in the game is hold the high ground kind of area with tanks and maybe doom drop you. But Shin's just going to shove in and kill him. He's got 17 Ravagers against 2 tanks and 1 Marine. I don't think 2 tanks and 1 Marine can stop 17 Ravagers. Shin's going to move in right now. He will take down the siege tank. It's SCVs and 2 siege tanks, or 3 siege tanks, I should say. And the Lings are getting on top as well. Maru's going to tap out there. And that was unfortunate for Maru, guys. That first push, Shin was so greedy. Should he have focused the queens down there is my first question in this game. I think maybe instead of the hatchery. Because the hatchery is, it's okay. But I don't know if it's really that impactful. It was already so damaged, which is why it was a kind of tempting target. I also wonder here, guys, and I actually thought he should have done an anti-armor missile on the queens. I feel like an anti-armor missile on this queen would be okay. Gives so much bonus damage to the Marines. Auto turrets do help a little bit, but as I said, the Raven just dies straight away. It's not the best for it's the best in a long drawn out game. Yeah, maybe killing all the queens and trying to get as many drones as possible, but he didn't have that many Marines and Hellions. I don't know, if he lifts the 3rd command center, maybe it's okay, but this is such a disaster. We got to watch this from his point of view. Let's watch this from Maru's point of view, guys, because you know what's crazy is he just queued up another SCV, didn't he? I think he does. Oh my god, he queues up another SCV here in the midst of it. Probably just selects all of his command centers. Yeah, he just queued up another SCV. And we're on his camera, guys. So he goes here, he selects it, and then he goes back to staring at the front. He looks at it again. Marines are coming over there. And he goes here and just focuses. Did he not even try to lift? I don't think he even tried to lift it. I think just his pattern recognition was off. Maru, we've all been in this situation as high-level players before in tournaments where you're just not quite switched on yet. And that's how I would describe this. I would describe this as him. He looked at this and said, oh yeah, you're going to run away because I'm stimming Marines at you. And it's like sometimes your pattern recognition is just a little bit off. Your brain's a little bit off, where like maybe in his mind this is 8 Zerglings and this is like 12 Marines. Obviously we can see it's not. It's like 25 Zerglings and only 5 Marines. Like you 100% need to lift this. Maybe he tried to lift it here. I'm not sure. Like he did click it there. So maybe he clicked it and thought he told it to lift. I'm going to give Maru the benefit of the doubt. I think he clicked it, told it to lift, didn't realize it was building an SCV still. And that's really unfortunate because it obviously goes down. And that is potentially game losing. I think if he keeps that alive, and then he also, when the big push comes in, has to have his bio split. There's a really, I also think all the tanks should be together. This tank should not be on the high ground. So you need, remember what I was saying, every tank needs to be in this kind of tight little area here. There needs to be space between the tanks, but not this much. Having 2 tanks completely exposed on the right and defended is a disaster. The depot positioning kind of sucks. The depots should be out front of the tanks to kind of break up your opponent's advance as they're trying to get on the tanks. And I think splitting your bio on both sides is actually best. Now, often a lot of players, what they'll do is they'll go, okay, when the Zerg's trying to set up the flank, they'll stim their bio on one side and like gun down all the Ravagers before they get in range of biles. But in this particular scenario, he just didn't realize how quick Shin was to move in with the surround. And all of his SCVs aren't doing anything. If the SCVs were like body blocking on the right, keeping those tanks alive, this tank was on the low ground as well, maybe. But having to rebuild his 3rd command center from scratch and not quite having the answer set up was really big. Shin with a beautiful timing takes a really nice game 1. Well played. All right, guys. Nice game 1 for Shiv. Does an extractor trick into an early drone. Okay, let's see if Maru's response has improved. Because I think it was Maru against Rogue. Him and Bjorn have both had games where they've crapped the bed against Rogue and Shin's proxy hatch recently. And it's especially good against command center first, I think, right? Because they don't see it straight away. Actually, I think with this map, you might see the hatchery with the depot the moment it goes down. So he builds it off center. Oh, to hide it. Oh, that's so... Okay, yeah, Shin's done his study. This is a barracks cast, though, so it's not as bad as going command center first, getting down there and going, oh, I can't build my command center. The question is, how much does Shin commit to this? He's droning pretty hard by it. It looks like a 3 hatchery before pool. I say that. Actually, no, he's about to build a gas and pool here, isn't he? He is about to build a gas and pool. So this is a hatchery first at the front into a gas and pool. You could build a spine. You could build a Ravager, like a Roach Warren off this, and siege in with a few Ravagers. I think Shin probably doesn't do this as an all-in. The most hilarious classic way to do this, guys, is you go Ling speed, bust the wall with spines, and flood Lings in. It's 2 racks Reaper again. Okay, so Maru, I wanted to talk more about this build. Maru feels his best shot against Shin, as he's about to find out about the hatchery. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to build the depot first. He still doesn't know. He still doesn't know. Oh my god, he's not going to know till the Reaper runs past. That's crazy how delayed the scout's going to be. There is a third hatch at home for Shin as well to transition. So with this build, he wants the advantages of a 2-racks Reaper, keep the Zerg under pressure, funnel him down to a limited range of options. But Maru also doesn't want the weakness of that exposed natural wall off, which Shin is so good at all-inning. And that would, you know, you don't want to give a guy like Shin. You're so favored against him in late game. Don't give him an easy production exposed on the natural to kill. So Maru now has spotted it. He's swapped to Marine production, and he's still going to build Command Center, but on the high ground. He should be totally safe. There's 6 Zerglings buildings, 4 at home, 2 at the front. The 2 Zerglings, will they try to just run straight into the base, I wonder? Looks like they will. He's going to find the second barracks soon, and he gets an SCV if he's lucky. I think he will. Oh, Marine takes a fair bit of damage. Not too bad. Good micro for Maru. Oh, he almost lost that Marine. That was a little risky. Same time, the Reaper gets almost surrounded here. Whew, Roach Warren does go down. The reason he built 6 Lings, he doesn't want that Roach Warren to get scouted. And if you've only got 2 or 4 Zerglings, the Reaper might just run in and see everything. Nothing building out of the front so far. 2 Reapers are here, guys. It looks like 2 Zerglings have been killed. Going to be building a factory at home as well. I imagine this just turns into a macro game, right? I mean, he's got Ling speed as well. It looks like an all-in. I mean, this looks like a Ravager Ling all-in. It feels like if Maru can realize what's happening, surely you can just hold that main base ramp with 2 barracks? Like, surely it can't be that bad. I mean, he's building a reactor. That's not Marine production just yet, but it will be a few minutes from now. He's going to just rally mass Ling from home, is Shin. Oh, he's showing way too many Zerglings. Okay, Maru should know. Seeing those Zerglings, if you build a second bunker right now, you get a tech lab on the factory, keep building Marines. You just build Marines 3 at a time. You should be fine. This Marine, beautiful scout. Look at that. Sees the eggs, sees the roaches. He knows exactly what's up. He's got to pull SCVs, build another bunker right now, start repairing this one, and he's A-okay. There should be no way to die. Reapers see mass Zergling coming. Maru sees everything he needs to see, but he's not reacting with the Reapers right now. He's started the second bunker quite slow. He's building a siege tank. The siege tank should rally to here, I believe. He should not put it anywhere near the ramp. He's got SCVs there ready to repair. Beautiful play by Maru. I don't think this works for Shin. Shin, a little bit too ham-fisted with this. It's not a disguised build, and I think he was committing to it before the game started. I do not think this is a reactive build. I think this is Shin just saying, I was going to do this build no matter what. Yes, you've gone 2 barracks. I probably wasn't expecting that, but I'm going to do the build anyway. And you can see how easy it is for Maru with 2 barracks to shut this down. His tank is now out as well. Shin, a bit too rigid, inflexible in his play, and he's even going to lose that Overlord. This is a massive advantage. No pressure on Maru to move out. He can build a starport after the second tank. He could put a barracks on this tech lab, or he could just build a tech lab there, make stim. And I think an engineering bay could come out soon as well. It's engineering bay or third barracks. One or the other would be really nice. Sells the second bunker. And Shin is building some drones, but he's also building more Roach Ravager Zergling. I think the best play here is you need to show yourself building drones from here or something like that. You need to let Maru think you're playing a macro game. Hope Maru doesn't scan your base, or maybe build like a lair and a second gas just to convince him. But actually stay on 35 drones, do nothing but make Ravager Zergling, and then wait for him to move out. And it's what we call a defensive all-in, where you say, I'm so far behind, I'm just going to do a defensive all-in. Then again, Shin's on 37 workers. His economy is impressive. How did he commit to that many units, that much of a headbutt? I mean, I guess he killed 6 SCVs. And there's only 2 command centers. There's no third. There's no Evo, no land, no third hatchery at home, though. So you got to realize Shin is missing a lot of infrastructure right now. It's a very dangerous position still. He could run in with a Zergling or 2 spread in front here. Marine tank moving forwards. Alright, so Maru clears this out. The creep is being annoying. I love this creep trim here. Maru doesn't realize that he really needs to scan back there. Has he got a Raven building? He doesn't. Maru's kind of messed this up a little bit. You got to use the scan on this creep back here. He's letting it spread even more in his vision right now. Maru, wake up, buddy. Dude, is he just going to let this in his vision? He is letting creep spread right now. I mean, what the... Maru, I don't know where his screen was. Finally cleans it up. Okay. This gives Shin time. Problem is Shin's third is so late. He does have a lair almost up, but Shin is like not really in an amazing economic spot. Luckily for him, Maru's stuck on 2 base. The thing is, how do you get efficiency against this well-teched army? Shields, +1, double medevac drop, which is hard to deal with. It feels like Infestors, and anyone who's familiar with my channel would know my answer to almost any situation is Infestors in this matchup, but it's the one where you can catch Marines, right? When he's trying to drop you, and just say, you can't get back inside the medevac, let's kill all these Marines with 2 fungals, but he's only on 44 drones. Shin, 3rd base, if it goes down, I think he's checkmated. Can't be playing this on 2 base. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to have to do. That's an easy choice to focus fire for Maru. No downside to that. 1 Marine for a Zergling and a hatchery cancel that was almost finished. That is massive. Absolutely massive. Maru's Marines finding a few roaches as well. Drones are very fragile targets. 50 minerals for just 40 hit points. You don't get much better value than that. Does lose a few Marines with a sloppy pickup above the extractor. Kind of hard to click on that, but it is what it is. Chat is saying, what the hell is wrong with Maru's depot placement? Maru wanted to block as much production as possible. He was panicking a little bit dealing with the all-in, so admittedly, these don't make a lot of sense in terms of blocking your production, but... Oh, he finds a queen over here. Oh, that's super cute, man. Shin tried to go drop creep and walk a queen there to get a little creep outpost going. Luckily, he keeps some active tumors going, but you can see he's going to come back and clear that. And Shin never even getting creep to his 3rd. He's in a desperate position right now. 3rd command center goes down. Tanks are moving forward for what should be the game-ending push. And Shin needs to make a heroic effort to survive right now. But he's down 1 upgrade. Carapace won't be ready in time. The Roach Ravager Zergling trying to hang on, but he doesn't have the firepower. You need to have numbers with Roaches to make up for their low damage output. Otherwise, the Marines can just focus fire the key units. And now these tanks can shove. He could probably go straight to the natural. Does he go natural or 3rd? He might try to put the tanks on the low ground, but the problem is Ravagers are pretty good, so you might even want to stay unsieged here. I think you can honestly stay unsieged if you want. He's going to try and creep these tanks forward little by little. And Shin is going to have to commit to 1 big push forwards as these tanks creep up. The Marines just dodging the biles. The front siege tank does go down. But of course, the Marines and the tanks make it a hefty price. Every time you want to bile a tank like that, you're going to lose 2-3 Roaches and Ravagers. And this is a terrible spot. Shin has to overwhelm this push. He can't quite do it. He's got no transfusers to fall back on, only 3 queens. Yeah, look at that. You finally get in range of the tank, you get rid of it, but so many Roach corpses are left on the road. The medevacs are out of healing juice, so maybe? No. I mean, the supply count looks good for Shin. I just don't see him clearing these 4 siege tanks. He's done a good job of like avoiding the fight as long as possible, but he says, time's up, I gotta go now. The Roach Ravager moves in. Oh my god, he's gonna break the push. He's gonna break the push! Shin! Dude! Shin! How the hell did he survive that, guys? And he's actually gonna spring across this map. Maru needs to get back to the high ground. His 3rd command center is up on location now. It is 3 base versus 3 base. Obviously, that's great for Terran, but that was 4 siege tanks killed. I think there was actually 5 or 6. Because I think a few of them must have died to maybe siege tank friendly fire when the Zerglings got on top, which means they don't show up here. I guess he saved 2 of them, actually. He did save 2 in the medevac, so maybe it was just 4. That's a really impressive hold for Shin. He's got Carapace as well. He's going to go +1 range, 2nd Evo Chamber, try and drone up the 3rd. He's going to go Infestation Pit. I think that's the Hail Mary tech, the one thing that maybe he could get some magic fungals to get him back in this game. He's also going to try and take a 4th up north, and this creep actually never got cleared. So that little creep outpost from earlier has actually given him a nice little 3-pronged clover in the top side of the map for that creep. I feel like Pig's commentary is a bit low, has a bit of an after dark nighttime commentary. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so quiet. It was dark when I woke up this morning. It's wintertime at the moment. The lights aren't... Dot was awake earlier. I don't need to worry about waking up the wife. I should just shout at the volume I normally do. But those biles are just a Hail Mary. Scan goes down, sees no hive. Maru's just checking, making sure he's in touch. He's like, where are you in this game? Have you got a surprising amount of tech? What are you doing in that main base? And seeing no hive, I think Maru feels a bit of relief. Confident the game is where he had thought it was, with Zerg in a very impinged position tech-wise. And second factory, fourth command center. Really good setup now for Maru. And he starts +2 so quick. I was going to say, it's always awkward in this sort of messy game. Like, most players forget +2 for a long time. And I think his +1 just finished. So that's actually very crisp. Tech lab on the second factory. So is that double tank production? It is double tank production. I'm not going to bother with the mixed style that a lot of players do, where they go for Widow Mines instead. Some players would prefer a mixture of tanks and mines, but I think Maru wants a relatively simple, just beefy Marine Marauder tank push. Defense on the third, guys. The Zergling run by is going to come in. This could be a real problem, man. Oh, no. Quick mineral walk. Marines are in a nice little corner, though. 4 SCVs go down. Command Center gets defended. Maru does F2 his whole army home, but I think that's fine. He scans the front. There's no creep stopping him. There's a couple fungals. There's 7 ravages. The Zerglings themselves are not a very useful unit at this stage. They're going to keep looking for economy damage. They're not quite able to find it. They should come in and try to flank the tanks. I think Shin there, he's kind of said, okay, I've forced you to leave your reinforcements at home. Now I can bring these Lings in. If he flanks these on the tanks from 2 directions, lands a good fungal on the Marines, I don't think Maru should be committing to this push. This actually is an opportunity for Shin. Shin, I know Vipers and Hive Tech aren't ready, but good fungal on these Marines to start. Can he land another one? Yes, he can. The Zerglings are coming in from behind. The Zerglings weren't pre-spread, which is unfortunate, but they will take out 2 siege tanks pretty quickly. The Roach Ravager gets on top. Shin with a very nice engagement. Problem for him is, of course, his Infestors don't have more energy for a little bit, about 10-15 seconds till they get another fungal, but holds off the first advance. And I think Maru pushing a bit too deep on a giant map when he doesn't need to. And I think, yeah, this is going to be a bit better. Start dropping, start picking away. Shin doesn't have a lot of money, but he's got 2 Vipers and 2 Infestors. So he's got 2 units that I would call like scaling, amplifying units that can give him crazy efficiency. He's only on 65 drones. Shin's economy is hot garbage right now. If Maru can trade the way Terrans normally trade, he will smash. Shin comes in with a big Roach Ravager. Lings around at the same time. Lings come in here. Sergeant Chadhammer on the high ground. Yeah, she does kill the Lings, but she kills quite a few SCVs in the process. You don't mind trading Zerglings into SCVs like that if they're not quick enough to run away. Maru up here with a very dodgy army as well. This is an army that you never siege. It's an army you just move in, pick up if it gets in trouble. Ooh! He tried to fungal bile the medevacs, but you could see we just caught the tail end of a triple medevac split in 3 different directions to avoid those biles. Where are the Vipers? I really don't know. It looks like they're still gathering energy over here. Shin needs to reset the creep spread. One problem Shin has in messy games, and not just Shin, every Zerg has this. If you're low enough economy, if you're in a desperate enough spot all game like Shin is, you can't spare extra queens. You can't spare extra APM. Oh, he loses a Viper! No, that's a disaster. At least he punishes with a fungal and kills a few Marines, but many of those damaged Marines do pick up and save. That Viper was such a crucial part of his arsenal. Maru with a huge snipe. 5th command center's on the way. Maru's going into that macro game. He's got more tech labs coming in, so he's gone up to 8 barracks so he can start pumping Marauders. Marine Marauder tank, it looks like Maru does not want to play late game. Not on Old Republic, not on such a big map. He wants to win with Bio Tank Marauder. But look at this, the Viper Ultra coming in, catching him in the open. He's not confident fighting the open ground. He needs to stim. He's not stimming. Maru needs to get home. He needs to get behind the planetary right now. The Bio does... Oh, did he just catch the other Viper? He just got the other Viper. Oh, Shin might be overcommitting. Shin is the king of headbutting. He's very good at doing it, but he's also sometimes throwing games by headbutting into dodgy positions. He will get 2 command centers, including the finished planetary, which was pretty nice. Maru is saying, screw you. How dare you kill my economy? I am going to counter push immediately. I know you're out of those Vipers, but the Infestors are waiting for a bit of an ambush, and he's going to land a nice fungal on a bunch of these Marines. Can he get another good one? Gets another decent fungal here. There's a lot of tanks behind, but those Ultras incredibly tanky with +2 carapace, and of course they've got kindness plating. The Ravagers land some biles on the tank, but it looks like Maru's been a bit too far ahead for too long, and the bio will finally eke out retribution upon the Zerg player in this game. And this is an impressive game, guys, because Shin, his early game all-in, I think was a bit rigid and inflexible. I think when he saw 2 barracks, he should have pivoted out of it. That being said, he was behind significantly from that moment, and he has outfought Maru in multiple engagements with an inferior army. Is he going to lose the game? Yes. Is Maru good enough? Yes. Is it a big Zerg-favored map? Yeah, probably that too. But we're not used to Shin being behind against Maru and still making it competitive. Normally, Shin gets massively ahead off being very clever, and then Maru still comes back and beats him. The fact that Shin made that competitive from such a bad position, I actually see as like, I'd be like, if I was his coach, I'd be like, well done, that's a win. I know you lost the map, but like that is a win. Playing from there like that, early game didn't go our way. You played really good, dude. On the other hand, Maru just stitches it together, ties up the series 1-1. I'm sure Maru's confident and happy to have won on the Zerg map. So far, both players have won on the other player's more favored map at the start of the series. As the series goes on, the maps tend to get more even because the players usually pick their best map first. Let's go to the next one. All right, guys. What a series we have here. Shin in the bottom left side of the map. Tied up 1-1. Extract trick to start. Maru in the top right. I have a feeling we're not going to see Maru do a single command center first in this series. Wouldn't it be funny if I clicked that SCV and he was already rallied to the natural? Wouldn't that be funny? The Overlord, it looks like, has already been clicked to the command center. That's so interesting because normally people would click it here or here and then like just see the command center and then go back to the pillar or go back over this way to scout into the main later. And you can see Shin in real time as we were looking at that actually adjusted it. So I think he's clicked on the pillar now. You just can't see exactly where that movement marker has been clicked. Barracks gas for Maru in the top right. Good safe reaction for Maru. When you see a hatchery at your base like that, sending the Reaper across, confirming what's going on is good. And Shin building so many Zerglings and letting them all get seen was a problem. Maybe, just maybe. If there was some way to catch that Reaper. But there was even 2 Reapers, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Maru's build was just so safe. This time he's not doing 2 barracks though, so he is pivoting into a 1-Rax expand this time. And he's doing it blind. No SCV scout. Look at that, guys. Okay, so Maru says, you know what, I don't think you're going to do a cheeky opening again. He just checks for... He's checking for like a hatchery. A hatchery can't go there because of the gas, guys. On this map, there's nowhere really off to the side where you can build the hatchery. It would have to be out front. Command center goes down. Reaper on the way. Not sure if workers pulled off minerals onto gas. I don't think so. This looks like more of an economic opening. And I think Shin will be looking to take that third before it can potentially get blocked. Usually you send maybe this drone or one of the gas drones over to that third base. But they have to go pretty soon before the Reaper gets over there. So we'll see if he moves a drone out to that third. So far the answer is no. And he's going to go 6 Zerglings for extreme safety. Doesn't want to let Maru get any momentum early. Shin's he's very cognizant of not letting himself get in a situation where he's like giving away units for free early. He's actually mining with 3 workers on gas. Hello, 2 base muter. Nidusworm, what is this? Why are we still mining gas? Shin might be doing a Mutalisk build. Spore Crawler goes down. I've been loving the variety this season in ZVT. I think this season's been amazing for ZVT variety. Notice because the Reaper took so much damage, that's often players would say that's a mistake because then the Zerg can immediately go Creep Tumor. I love the way Shin punishes him there. And he's got Lings monitoring the jump path on the left. Queens out front. Didn't lose a drone. And of course that lair can start up soon. Or you can just go for a Roach Warren and just do a Ravager Zergling attack. Okay. Wow, old school. Are we just going to do 27 drone Ravager Zergling all in? Super old school. Maru's gone double gas here to get quick Starport, quick Banshee up. Maru's build, you would think, checkmates Shin's build. He's even getting a really fast second barrack. So he's already thinking about how to do... He's like, I can do a Hellion Banshee for safety and then do like a 2-base Marine tank push in case Shin is macro. Shin does build a third, but it's kind of... That's like almost a fake third. That's like a, I'm totally building a third base. Look, I'm definitely building an economy. Please come scout this Reaper. I would like you to think I'm playing a macro game. Meanwhile, Roaches are on the way. 6 of them to start. Let's go to Maru's vision and see if he can get wind of this. He's already starting a Banshee. I think Maru's build should checkmate this. The problem is if the Banshee flies across the map and the Roachling sneaks over without being spotted, already looks a bit sus. That Overlord should have been way further forward for Shin, so he could have moved his Queens early. This Overlord should be out here, guys. This is bad Overlord placement for Shin. He should be up here with this Overlord, because you need your Queens to, like, shimmy, you know, to shove them away. This time his Queens can shove the Hellion Reaper right. Roach is going around the right, but you got to be careful, because he's not got any vision in front of the Roaches, which means if the Hellion Reaper comes up this ramp and sees these Roaches, Maru keeps the Banshee at home, and he's in a good spot. Oh, we're going to get a glimpse. He gets a glimpse. He gets a glimpse. He gets a glimpse. He sees the Roaches coming. And that's exactly what we're talking about, where it's hard to hide these sorts of moves. If you get the Roach across safely, the Banshees are not at home. You can do big damage, but he's been scouted. And so he's going to start droning and building a lair. And you might think, well, oh, look, he's going to force such a big response from Maru. No. Maru's on 3 command centers. He's still built a pretty quick 3rd command center. Yeah, he's got Marine Production Hellion. He's got 2 Banshees that will be ready at home. And you've massively slowed down your workers. That being said, Shin was not all in. He's building a spore or 2, 3 spores even. He's got a 3rd with 12 workers on it at 5 minutes, which I got to say, hats off to him. He's only got 14 on the natural. He's a little under saturation there, but I mean, it's not too bad. In terms of mineral income, Shin's competitive. He's behind on things, but it's similar to the last game. It's not the end of the world. I mean, but it's actually a lot better than last game. Last game, he committed a lot to that attack, and it didn't do much. Roaches are, on this side, going to defend these Hellions. Banshee does find a creep tumor there as well. Chat was calling it a macro hatch. Yeah, I mean, it's a macro hatch, but when you're on 26 drones, it's kind of like, it's a macro hatch that also could very well... It's not really necessary, I think, with the amount of money he had. Like, it was never going to have meaningful amount of production for the push he was doing, right? So it eventually becomes a macro hatch and turns into an actual base, but it's absolutely this is totally a real base. Believe me. Unfortunately, didn't get the reaction he wanted. Maru was already playing incredibly safe. Roach speed's on the way. A bunch more gases. It's really hard to choose what you want to commit to. I think, yeah, Carapace has to be the priority. He's going to take the middle base. Okay, so Shin has decided let's play an up front and center style. Oh, the Overseer gets cleaned up. That's unfortunate. It would be really good to maybe get a Contaminate later. And look at that. Second eBay, Armory, extra breaks. What I love about Maru is he's been forced into such a non-standard build order in this game to try and cover what he thought Shin was doing or might be doing. And his build order's just crazy. It's weird, right? And yet... it still gets all the pieces in a pretty neat fashion. Oh, he's supply block. Yeah, guess what? Depots are finishing. That's a very minor supply block. So many Terran players, when they get forced down a non-standard build order where they have to move the barracks timings around the eBays, they mess up. Not Maru. Maru is very clean here. Very quick on his +2 attack as well. Infestation Pit, second Evo on the way. Shin is finally up to 70 drones, which is going to make him feel a bit better. You're always gas-starved here, because you want to build Infestors. You also need to have a few Ravagers for the tanks. Balancing these things is hard. Zerglings will help a little bit. If it's not a macro hatch, was it a micro hatch? Yes, much like my micro... you know what. Anyways, sorry, guys. I'm so easily distracted. Queen's hitting the Banshee right now. Oh, he scouts the hive. Look at that. Maru went in just to see the hive. So he's like, oh, okay, you're going late game now. Does Maru choose to push? Or does he prioritize getting his 4th command center and 2nd factory right now and kind of dig in for the long game? This map's a little better for Zerg in the very late game than Terran. I still think Maru would be very competitive, if not favored against Shin. Serral kind of barely managed to beat Maru on this map when they were playing a very late drawn-out macro game in Pigfest. I don't know, man. I think Shin and Serral are 2 very different beasts in late game. Oh, he doesn't get any Hellbats. Doesn't want to give up any Roaches. He didn't end up building any Infestors this game, guys. So he's caught building 4 drones as well here. Oh, Maru with a really vicious push. Nice timing. +1 against +1 Carapace here. So upgrades are even. Big Biles do land, taking out a tank. He takes a big couple of tank shots in the middle of the Roaches, though. And this base is going to fall. Nice base snipe there for Maru. New base is building on the left. The drones can, of course, transfer to that, but I think that's a good push because he did go for the 4th command center and 2nd factory. So Maru he just basically said, I'm going to take the best of both worlds. When he scouted the hive, he said, I will both kill your 4th and tech to late game at the same time. That being said, Maru very rarely turtles to end game. Like we saw in that last game, I don't think we're going to see him do that in this series, even though I don't think Shin really can beat him in end game. It looks like Maru, to me, wants to play more of a tempo style. Keep expanding, but don't go mass orbital. Don't give up tempo. Don't go to ghosts. Just keep attacking with Marine, Marauder, Tank. Maybe add libs in. You're not really taking the time to build the slow, immobile ghosts. Because if you build ghosts, you need mass orbital. You need planetaries. It slows the whole game down. Maru looks like he wants to win these in the early late game, which, I mean, historically, you'd think, no, that's not how you play against Shin. What the hell? You're way better than him in late game. Surely you want to drag it to the end game. But Maru, for whatever reason, maybe Shin's been beating him in endgame a little bit recently in their practice, in the ladder. Marine's going to the right side. Please don't start that hatchery. Oh, the Lings are there, actually. He's okay. 1-1 against 2-1. The Marines have the better upgrades. They do get forced to pick up, though. Massive push moving through the middle. Drilling Claws +2 vehicle weapons on the way as well. Shin's going Bane speed. Banelings are nearly worthless at this stage of the game, guys. I've always talked about how Baneling transitions off Roach Ravagers suck. They're really good once you trade most of the Roaches out and you're into a Ling Bane Viper style, because that's just a good late game style. Queen does get a Banshee, which is nice. Ooh, Hatchery kill down the bottom, though. A few Queens in the middle. The problem here is you've got 13 Marauders and 5 Siege Tanks. Banelings going to be pretty bad against those. Heavy Zergling will be good. The 73 Zerglings will be very nice against those. I think there's enough Marauders mixed in, and now with Widowmines coming, that the Ling Bane might really struggle to connect with the Bio army, and Shin just can't get extra expansions up, can he, guys? He's back to 4 bases with this left base. He's kind of just behind on everything, and Maru's saying, fine, if you're not going to stand and fight, I'll build a Ghost Academy, I'll build a 5th command center. Still no, like, extra orbitals, I say, as he places 2 extra command centers that are clearly going to be orbital command centers. Yeah, Maru's saying, all right, you want to drag this to late game while being behind the entire time? Sure. I know I can beat you in late game. It wasn't my first choice, but I'm killing so many hatcheries without you standing and fighting. All right. So a small army for Maru. Small army, very deep forward. He kind of walks into the Banelings there. This is a very odd engagement for Maru. One has to question what he was doing out here with like half of his army attacking onto the edge of creep without anything sieged behind it, and the rest of his army kind of just F2'd in there, and yet the fight's not horrendous. Stutter Step is one heck of a skill. This is, if a fight that disorganized from Maru still trades that well, Shin's really in trouble. He's got to get rid of these garbage early game Roach units so that he can have a competitive maxed out army, but he also needs expansions. That's what he's struggling with right now. So many Roaches wasting a lot of supply in Shin's army, and they're a very low damage unit, but Maru's kind of just headbutting a bunch of bio way away from any sort of siege units or Widow Mines, and not the most elegant engagements from Maru by any means. +3 vehicle weapons. We've got +3 melee. Anabolic Synthesis comes in for the Ultras as well. Looking for a big engage. Remember, there's no Infestors, but 3 Vipers could do big moves with Parasitic, with Abducts, with Blinding Clouds. Blinding Clouds on the tanks are massive. Abducts on the libs pull them out of siege mode. Another Blinding Cloud on that last siege tank is huge. Can he bust the planetary is the question. I don't think there's enough damage left to do so. And this is a fight you've got to pull back from as Shin. The layers of buildings kind of blocking him up. There's still some Ling Bane on the right side. If those could hit this mineral line at the same time while distracted, that would be good. But look at that. A few Zerglings find the left, get a few SCVs. There are 3 tanks, though, on this right side. And if this becomes a planetary as well, that right side gets shored up on the defenses. And it does feel like Maru's in a pretty hard-to-kill position. And Shin, he's kind of on a one-track mind. I want to overwhelm you. I get a big spread of your units, but they're going to clump into these choke points around this command center. I don't think he can attack here. Maru knows it's coming. He's going to attack here. There's not that much army for Terran, and Blinding Cloud is really big once again on the planetary, on the bio. The planetary, I think, will go down. The orbital up front definitely will. The tanks are gone. If you can get this planetary and get out, that would be big. But that's a big if. The mass repair is huge, and you can see a lot of army went down. If he got that second planetary, I would have called that a resounding success. As it is, the Ravager's getting hunted. Ling Bane Ultra is here. The Vipers desperately need to gather more energy. Those Vipers have given great value, especially the choke points are really good for blocking Zerg, but it also means all the bio is stuck here. You drop 2 Blinding Clouds, and Maru's bio is like stuck running away for most of the battle rather than shooting, which is actually really, really big. Ling's on the right side. Could run in. Pure Zergling's good against tanks when they're not covered by anything, but you got to actually micro them in, and of course he's too busy looking over here. Ultras will get sniped by the Ghost, but not before they snipe a planetary. Only 1 Ultra gets sniped. These tanks are doing friendly fire to their own worker line as well. Triple drop on the other side, though, will do damage. Maru loses his 5th base, but he's trying to take a 6th on the right side as well. I think Maru needs to consolidate right now and potentially slow things down. The drop's a good idea, but I think this base on the right is a disastrous idea, because if Shin rallies his whole army, he can bust the base on the right, and then he could potentially go remax and bust the left again. I think Maru's going to have to make a decision on which side he commits to. I think the left is better, but he might just pivot since the command center is already here and the top left got busted. If he takes this base as well, I don't think he can cover both sides. And I think against Shin, this is not a race. This is a marathon. All you need to do is not gas yourself out. Take your time, set up your defensive positions. Shin's going to impale himself on your defenses, right? He's down 5,000 in the trading. That's only going to get worse. Shin does not have a big income. He's not even started mining the corners. Shin forgot about creep spread 15 minutes ago. Yes, he's putting creep tumors down, but he's only got 2 queens. And they're mostly injecting. They're rarely placing a creep tumor. Shin is not set up for the long game. Shin is right now saying, I will try to take you down as quickly as possible. If you guys are watching live and you have an audio issue, try refreshing your browser, closing the stream, reopening it, or try a different browser. Occasionally, if you have issues with that, refreshing your cookies or, you know, whatever. Clearing your cookies and cache on your browser can be nice. That's right, cache, guys, not cache. Cache is something you use to purchase things. Don't at me, Americans. Ultraling Bane Viper coming in. Where are the abducts? He's going to go for Bios to take out the lib. So many Banelings! Holy crud! That's a crazy Baneling count. Can they get towards the ghost? Maru's ghosts are busy running rather than fighting, which means they're not really helping in this engage. This is a delicious engagement for Shin. Shin just busting through with Ultraling Bane. You got to be careful of those snipes on the retreat. The Vipers, one of those goes down. The Vipers stayed a bit too long. Oh, he's going to lose a bunch of units here. I mean, at least he can kill a few Widowmines. No, he can't. No, he can't. It's always a bait. It's always a bait. Don't, once the fight's over, like, you've lost all the Banelings, you need to run. I love the Infestor pivot, realizing ghosts are now a problem, but he's messed up Maru's economy, and like I said, I think this base down here was a terrible mistake, because he's left all his siege units down here, knowing how exposed it is, and he's taken this top left, so this top side was just not covered with enough siege units, and that's a really big problem. This is also where the more entrenched a position is, guys, you get more turrets forward. More turrets forward means the Vipers die before they cast their spells, or they have to use the spells on the missile turrets, which they don't want to do. And now, such an easy angle. And that's what I'm talking about. This is the classic Maru mistake that he used to make versus Serral. People hate when I call it this because in their minds, Maru can't make mistakes. Guys, this is clearly a Maru mistake. You cannot, when you're in a position where you barely need to just survive, that's all he needs to do in this game, expand to 2 distant points that are far apart. Your whole strength as a Terran here comes from consolidated defenses layered around these ledges with tanks, libs, bio spread around this entire area. That's huge. You put a planetary here and you expand here, and you might even go to the top left corner before taking this right base, and it allows you to creep your army in one consolidated direction. He put too many siege units down here and they weren't even able to defend the base. You're giving Shin the option of attacking a barely defended base here or a barely defended base here, rather than Shin being forced to attack into a strong defensive position. Sometimes Terrans just get excited in the tempo and they think, I've got to expand everywhere at once. Even Maru, he's made this mistake in 2024, 2025 against Serral, where he kept doing this. The Ultra tries to burrow, but unfortunately gets his face shot off. And I think Maru can still bring this back, but he's got to slow down and not give him angles. Ooh, gets an Infestor. That was a delicious snipe. But yeah, he's got to make his mind up on which side he's defending. Spire is a very late. It should have come in a while ago, but Shin's been broke, so I don't really think he could afford it, to be honest. This has been a game where Shin's been playing this on a very tight budget. He doesn't have a lot of bank, and as much as Maru's given him some good angles, I still think Maru's favored here because Shin's just now taken the corners. He has been so behind for so long, despite having full map control for the last 5-6 minutes. He's barely spread creep. He's got a single tumor here. These ones have mostly been forgotten about. And that just shows he's not been in a position where he has all the normal advantages that Zerg has at this stage. Serral would have mined these bases halfway out by now. He'd have a Nidus in each corner of the map. Shin doesn't have any of those luxuries. Good spready on the Banes. Oh, that was a very nice spready. Kill this command center is really big. Should have clicked that command center. That's 400 minerals. Could have been denied there. But 6 SCVs is not bad for a few Lings and Banes. Gets a few turrets and things as well, you know. Clears up a few things. Not bad. Bottom right side, though. He pulls Maru's attention to the bottom right. Sorry, to the top left, does Shin. And now Shin pushes this side. And, you know, yeah, there's some ghosts there. There are 3 Widow Mines as well. Those Widow Mines could be big, actually. The Planetary has re-erect. This is a hard position to attack. If you bring some Lings in from the left as well and spread them on these tanks, bam, bam, and then maybe run some Lings into the third as well, that could be good. Little expendable Ling crews also clearing turrets. Still 2 tanks all the way back there. Maru's spread his defenses very nicely. Now that he's maxed out, and he's also got 9 siege tanks, which I think is a good count. It's powerful, but it's not enough to make Broodlords like an obvious answer. Going to the 12, 13 plus siege tanks, Broodlords become amazing, but 9 siege tanks? Broodlords are okay for poking, getting the tanks to friendly fire things a little bit. You don't want to commit too much to that. Ultra's going to go for the engage. He's actually full chasing it. I didn't think Shin was going to commit. Wow, Shin goes for it. Gets a few tanks there, a few Widow Mines and turrets. Quickly does turn to run away. The Sensor Tower somehow survives there. Maru's been very good at his fighting retreats. 8,000 resources between the 2 players and the units lost. And of course, now the pressure becomes, can Shin transfer workers to these corners? He needs these to be fully mining. He should already have 20 workers on each corner. These other bases he can mine from later. These bases are completely safe later on in the game. And then, can Maru deny those corners? Because Maru's getting big now. Maru has only 4 orbitals, but he has 10 ghosts. Maru's not rich. Shin has a lot more money. Shin's happy to take engagements, even if they're not the most cost efficient right now. Blinding Clouds on these tanks are brilliant. Snipes going down in the Overseers. Oh, if he clears the Overseers, maybe the Ghost can cloak, I guess. Very cute idea there. Baneling's still going forwards. Dude, it's just an avalanche of Zerg, and so much of the Terran is spread all around the map. The Baneling's going to continue forward. Does he? He gets a few Ghosts. About 3 or 4 Ghosts. Gets a few SCVs. Doesn't kill the Orbital. But if the Ultras mostly escape, and it looks like they will, that in itself is not bad. And Maru's going to try and take the top left, but... Ooh, he gets the Viper. That's a good move. Corruptors are now coming in. Corruptors are absolutely crucial. They'll kill the Medivacs and the Libs in all these engagements, which is absolutely matchup defining. But oh no, that Ultra trapped in a Baneling cage. He morphed his Banes too close to the front there. He's going to try again. He's kind of blocking his units a little bit. This hatchery in the middle will get sniped. Nice move there by Maru, but his Ghosts are cloaked. They're low on energy, and Maru may have to pop it back in his pants. There's a full energy Infestor lurking behind. No Neural Parasite, though, so we can't Neural the Siege Tank. It has to be the pop-up, catch the Ghosts and go from there. Kind of wish that Infestor was somewhere in the middle there. Maybe could have caught that army, but with the scans spotting for this, it's always going to be tough. Drones are now transferring. 30 in the top left, only 12 in the bottom right. A little sloppy. I think that was just a let's grab all the workers from the middle and shove them there. Corruptors poking forward. Going to go in and start taking out Libs and Medivacs with these. Corruptors are such a good unit in the late game for clearing all those expensive Terran air units while everything else is happening. And that is such a good choice. These Corruptors are going to give mad value. This command center has to lift. Maru's getting pushed back. Maru is out of money. And look at that, guys. Yeah, he's down 8,000. The resources lost, but who cares? Shin has the numbers, and Shin has outplayed Maru in the late game here on Tourmaline. And that's without even utilizing the corners until the very end. That is wild. The whole reason this map's good for Zerg is because of those corners. And yet, Shin actually just beat Maru straight up by busting him through these middle areas. That is absolutely insane. Maru's down 100 supply now. And I think even Maru's going to struggle to come back from there. He's done it in the past against Shin, but I don't think today, not losing these 2 middle and northern bases. I do really believe Maru expanding to here and here at the same time was the crucial mistake. You guys can let me know if you disagree. Always open to interesting conversations about StarCraft. But I feel like, you know, he should have known that Shin was in a pretty desperate spot. Very little creep spread, very little economy off of how this early game had gone, and for Shin to bring this game back and get a 2-1 here is absolutely a crazy advantage. I'm very shocked by how this series has gone so far. It's not the series that you normally expect between Maru and Shin. Shin's doing well at the stages where Maru normally does well. Maru's doing well at the stages where Shin normally does well. It's a bit of a role reversal and a real shift in this matchup identity between these two. Ghosts running away from Ultras and Banelings. They're going to go down. And Shin here with a 2-1 lead on Maru in the semis. Shin is 1 game away from making history and winning, I believe, his first best-of series ever against Maru. You guys let me know, was there one best-of-3 he beat him in like a group stage of GSL a few years ago? I feel like he's never beaten him in a best-of series. If he has, it was like 1 best-of-3 and then he lost the rematch or something like that. But I don't think he's ever won a competitive best-of-3 or best-of-5. And you guys let me know if that's the case. But essentially, if he has, it's like 1 best-of-3 out of a billion series. Like, Maru has such a dominant head-to-head, and now Shin has 2 chances to make history in the most important match. Other than the previous GSL finals that they played a few years ago. Other than that, this is probably the most important match where it would be so huge if he could take down Maru. All right, guys, is Shin going to make history? He's in the bottom left here. Maru in the top right. It's Mothership. It's a big map. This is a map where I would say, in the way it plays out, most Terrans are favored versus Zerg. It's so interesting as a map. I actually think this map is one of the most interesting and fair maps in Zerg versus Terran specifically. I haven't thought about it too much in the other matchups. What I love about this is Zerg should probably take the 3rd here, which is a bit awkward. It's kind of far. And then you should probably take a 4th here, which is also a little exposed. But then, like, your 5th is so far away over here. Unless you want to expand towards the Terran and take this base, terrible. They can siege you down this ledge. Or this base, also towards the Terran, kind of quite exposed. And I really believe the optimal way to play for Zerg is to try to play a very mobile Ling Bane, preferably Muta Ling Bane style, expand along this left side, up towards this main base. The reason being, Terran has to push so far to get here through these open areas. And yes, it's hard to defend from drops and spot all the drops coming, but you really want to fight for map vision on this whole kind of bottom, this whole left side of the map and expand in that direction. And you also want to expand here at the same time. So if the Terran pushes here, that's fine. It's hard for them to push here and deny the top left at the same time. And you can expand along this right side a little bit if they really focus on pushing the left. But you kind of put pressure as a mobile Zerg player by saying, well, you can't push both sides at once. Maru's gone command center first, by the way. Mixing it up a little bit. Very nice. Probably a double gas here. We should see that second gas soon. Yeah, I love that way of playing as Zerg. Most Zergs don't do that. Most pro Zergs expand to the middle. They expand here, and they try to just lock horns with the Terran and fight front on. The problem Terran has is if you can expand along the edges, counterattack a lot, if the Terran pushes hard on the right and you do lose control of this base as your fifth, that's fine. You can counterattack through the middle and onto their third, and their army is so far out in the middle of nowhere on this left side of the map that I think having a very reactive army movement and where you commit to style as Zerg on this map plays very, very well. Where creep spread is everything on a big map. If the Terran lets you take this whole top left corner, you've just got too many bases in the late game that Terran can't really pressure. It's too hard for Terran to get past their first 5 bases in this tight little formation in this top right corner, whilst you get about 1 billion bases, and you can just swarm them like Shin did in that last game, right? And Shin did that off not even having a superior economy for most of the game. For Terran, it's often about they just kind of win in the mid game because I feel like Zergs are nowhere near as good in the modern day at defending spread out expansions and multi-prong as they were back on the giant map pools of some Legacy of the Void, some Heart of the Swarm. 2017, I think, was when we had like King's Cove in these maps where there was a ton of drops hitting expansions that were off in the corners and this sort of stuff. And the game's just, you know, players were a bit more used to it. Also, Terrans are just better at multitasking these days, so they're better at hitting the multi-prong. If you're playing Clem on this map, it does feel like it's Clem favored because, well, if you're hitting all these bases that are spread apart, that usually favors the guy with the insane Terran control. It is going to be a Reaper. Isn't this interesting, guys? This was Reaper after Command Center first, into third Command Center. Reaper's going to come out and get at 2 Zerglings. The Zerglings try to split up to at least waste the Reaper's time. He doesn't find that last one. He should stay at home, though, because he's got no other units, so he's got to stay there to make sure he's safe. But yeah, third Command Center comes up. Overlord will be able to poke in and scout it, but the Reaper sees it, so Shin's going to feel a little worried. But Maru's been doing these really efficient third Command Centers, like, close to lift it off. It also means it's much easier to scout, and Shin seeing that, I think should feel a bit of relief. He's going to go forward and check that it's a factory as well. We'll see the Hellions come out, and he's got a third hatchery up, but he's gone quickling speed. He's built a bunch of Zerglings. Shin's done a more conservative opening. Maru's done a much greedier one. This gives Maru an economic edge. The question is, can Maru turn that into anything from here? Now, Maru's actually gone a second barracks before engineering bays, which is crazy because for the longest time, Maru's always gone double upgrades off just one barracks. And it's kind of good to see him mix this up because he's died to a lot of Ravagerling, a lot of Bane busts, a lot of aggressive Zerg builds that have specifically punished the fact that he's too greedy on his upgrades. Most players, like Clem, almost always goes 3 barracks, then double engineering bay, right? Whereas Maru would go 1 barracks, double engineering bay. Maru's going to split the difference here. Say, all right, I'll go 2. I'll go 2 barracks this time. We'll go for the Stim Marines, the Medevacs, but we'll get double upgrades pretty damn quickly with it, and he'll be lined up for a nice 1-1 Marine Medevac timing. Just be annoying for Shin to deal with. Shin's going to play Roaches. He's not going to play that multi-prong Ling Bane style. I told you I'd love to see that style. I think it's the best, but like I said, most Zergs will just expand in this tight formation and play a front-on style, and it looks like Shin's going to opt for that. If you put workers on the pads in the main, do they summon something or sacrifice themselves to upgrade the command center? The pads? Oh, these? Yeah, it looks like we're going to summon Archimond if you put 5 acolytes on these little circles. Is that what you're talking about? Is this a haunted gold mine? You put 5 acolytes around here, or maybe you sacrifice some goats or something and get like a blessing. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Haven't quite tried that. Maybe if you dance 5 units in the middle of those summoning portals, that'd be great. Avex is like, yeah, the map makers have just been waiting for someone to discover that secret. Yeah, totally. Reaper's going to go down. There's a lot of Zerglings. 24 Lings already, guys. But I think there's plenty of defense, right? 7 Roaches now building as well. Is Shin just going to... This dude, Shin plays so weird. Like, what is this? Is this just a Roach Ravager Carapace Zergling all in? It might be. It kind of looks like it. Sometimes, depending on what he sees, he goes full all in. Sometimes he just pivots into macro. It's really hard as a Terran player to read it. What I hate I would hate if I was in Maru's shoes, is you never know how much Shin's going to commit. He's quite hard to read as a player. And you're going to scan, you see Roaches coming out, you see single Evo, you see a missing gas. And that scan may trigger Shin to build a 4th and hold the drone key down now. And I feel like even me, it's impossible to know. Yeah, a second Evo goes down, drones start building. Fourth hatchery will be next. Watch this. Because he gets scanned, Shin's gonna... He builds a few Ravagers first and more drones instead of the fourth base. So he's prioritizing drones and a few Ravagers. I think he still wants to pressure and try to make the third lift. There we go. That fourth base goes down. Maru, though, I think with a perfect scan, kind of scares Shin off the aggression. And Shin slowed down his economy and upgrades a bit to get this potential going, right? 2 Roaches, 3 Roaches for 1 Marine. 2 Marines. 2 Marines for 3 Roaches. Great trade for Terran. That tank positioning is really nice. Oh, Maru shoving with the SCVs as well. He might need to get out of here. That's a lot of Zerglings coming in. He was not expecting those Zerglings. The Lings are going to try to wrap around, but I think this is a great fight for Maru, guys. I think this is a great fight for Maru. Because, yeah, he loses 11 SCVs, but he keeps his firepower alive, which means now Zerg can't drone up. Zerg has to defend a mass Marine counterattack of these guys can go drop once they heal up, of course. That being said, I mean, he's on 80 workers, so... Wow, Shin's pretty good at droning before this even happened. He's got 30 drones here. Obviously, the fourth's not ready yet. He'll instantly full saturate it. Infestation pet, Baneling Nest on the way. Hive will come in after that. That triple drop's going to move out to the left. If you lose your fourth, you're screwed. In this sort of game, the big problem Zergs have is their fourth base always gets sniped. They, like, never save it. And if he can save it, that's good, but his whole army moves right for a single... Look at this Marine. He's like, you Zerg are ugly. I banged your sister. This whole Zerg army gets distracted, moves right. Shin actually does predict and moves left with most of his units, but his Ravager's out of position. The Marines easily overwhelm this. And this triple drop is going to do devastating damage. Smashing the Roaches. The drones are now exposed. He can just hold position. Doesn't even need to focus fire, since most of the Roach Ravager is out of range. 12 workers go down. Huge damage. And he can go further, because guess what? There's only 5 queens in this game. That is a massive amount of damage. The fourth surviving is good, though, for Shin. It allows him to at least re-drone it. He's got to get on top of this. He's got a hive building, but no infestors just yet. So no way of punishing these Marines for coming in here. Sorry, guys. Probably shouldn't zoom in there as the shielding on the side of this mothership. Oh, no! +1 range gets denied! Dude, I just assumed there'd be enough units coming in here, but Roach is just not as agile as Zerglings. And, oh, Shin losing some upgrades. Almost eats his own corrosive bile. There's a new drop on the left. Look at this. These guys are distracting him enough, and Maru's like, oh... You know I'm macroing perfectly, but not only am I doing that, also here's another 8 Marines. Thanks for resaturating, bro. Wow. Yeah, Maru is like, oh, do you want that first ever best of 3 victory against me? Chat confirmed, by the way, guys. Maru's never lost a best of to Shin. He's lost 1 or 2 best of 1s, like single maps against him in like team league type formats. Never dropped a best of 3 even, or a best of 5 or anything like that to Shin. Not a single time. And it doesn't look like he's going to start in this game. Though Shin has been very robust. I feel like even when the games look bad, he maintains the supply advantage, maintains even workers. +2 carapace is going to cancel out the +2 attack for the bio. Problem, Vipers aren't ready. He's only up 20 supply with a lot of Roach Ravager in his army, which are very low quality units. No Banelings or Infestors here just yet. So Maru's army is better. You're going to need very good corrosive biles to make this work out. 1 tank does get biled. Gets a medevac for it as well. Extra discount combo deal. The bio stimming in here is a crazy choice. He throws his medevacs away. Maru! I mean, awesome Chad maneuver or silly throwaway of medevac bio there. The Lings are going to come in on the third at the same time. Dude, is Shin going to make another one of these miraculous holds? Maru is ahead in this game, and I love that he's pushing aggressively while ahead. Oh, if he can deny the Bane Nest, that's huge. He denies Bane Speed. Yes, he denies Bane Speed, gets the Spore. What a great tank position on this side. These guys can dodge the biles if Maru's watching. Does eat a bile on the Marauder, but it survives. Marine Marauder just trading really nicely up here. Can quickly pick up to the medevac. One of the tanks will go down, but that means you're clumping into these tank shots. The medevac does go back there, unloads a few units. You have to be careful flying these medevacs into biles as well a little bit. Maru being a little bit wasteful, not as precise. Like, I like the idea of being aggressive, but shoving all of his bios so far up the ramp was very dangerous. Eating so many biles, also very dangerous. Like, Shin is still on 4 bases. He loses Bane Speed. He's lost +1 range. He's lost his friggin' 2 Evo chambers now. He's got to probably rebuild his second one. I mean, Shin's in a really awkward spot. He's on Roachling Viper, right? Which is just a terrible comp. When 3-3 kicks in, if Maru can just shove with a maxed out bio army, he's good. The funny thing is, Maru's money is mostly going into tanks right now. I kind of feel like Marines actually win this game. I think Marines are the most crucial unit. He's only got 25 Marines. If he gets like 50 Marines with 3-3, it kind of beats this whole army because there's no Banes, no Infestors. But he's mostly on Marauder Tank, which is kind of weak against the Ling Ravager. There is an opportunity. Shin is maxed with a 40 army supply lead. A lot of the army's out of position. Problem, doesn't want to attack around this corner, and yet he might have to because there is a huge counter on his 4th. Shin's going to have to go. Blinding Clouds are juicy, though. He lands 3 really good Blinding Clouds. Oh my gosh, every single tank just gets shut down there. Brilliant push here for Shin. The tanks are getting hammered, man. Absolutely massacred on those siege tanks. They all go down. The Ravager's finding big value. Can he ever stabilize at home, though? Trying to build an Ultra Cavern and more Roaches. The tanks are going down. Like I said, it's all about the critical mass of Marines, and yet there's 5 Marauders building at a time. Maru has got 5 barracks with Tech Labs. I didn't realize he was this Marauder heavy. He's got 5 Tech Lab barracks. He can't really produce Marines right now. Then again, Shin is desperately all in and does not have an answer for this squad of Bio. So even though Maru has definitely left some openings, made some missteps, it does feel like he should be able to get on top. He even gets the Viper there. The Marine Marauder trading quite well on this side. The Queens and Roaches going down. Shin cannot produce enough units, and Maru will tie up the series and force Game 5. All right, guys, Game 5 is going to be on Winter Madness, one of the most fair and balanced maps. Let's just hope Maru doesn't, say, get a Liberator down here behind the 4th and deny Shin's 4th mining and win the game with that. We haven't really seen players taking advantage of that recently. Apparently, you can Corrosive Bile it. Some people are saying there is a spot, like you can always Corrosive Bile it. Some people are saying, no, there is a spot you can get it where you just right, where they can't reach you with a Corrosive Bile. But we haven't really seen it utilized recently. And Shin in the bottom right looks like he's just going for a very standard hatchery first. Builds the 16th drone. Of course, he did the extractor trick, so it's 15 Overlord into 16 hatchery. Solid opening on 45 seconds. Barracks gas for Maru, also going very standard. It looks like we've probably seen the end of this this 2-Rax Reaper from the start of the series. Thought we might see him keep going back to that throughout. This map's actually not very balanced in TVZ. I thought, oh, it is. No, it is going to be the second barracks again. Okay, he is going to keep doing it. So, guys, AVAX in chat says it's not. Oh, so it's just like statistically or something. I don't know. In general, this map just like always is the map that gets left to last. Like it's the map that doesn't get vetoed ever in any matchup. It's the map that always gets picked last. Like no one picks it as their favorite map in a matchup. But according to AVEX says it's 40% in TVZ. I mean, what is that based off? Sometimes people talk about stats, and is that based off of like Wikipedia? Is that based off of Aligulac? Like, is this just pro tournament matches? What are the other maps? And so it's 40% for Terran, 60% for Zerg. So it's actually Zerg favored, is it? Like, but are all the maps Zerg favored or like what? Because I don't know. It's so interesting to see. I think it's combined Wikipedia and Pulse because it's one of those things where like I don't know compared to what, right? Like how if I think about like do those stats line up with my perceptions? Because my perceptions are very feelings based. I'm not a stats guy. I also don't trust a lot of the numbers because they get collected incompletely by people who aren't professional about it in StarCraft. But like I think of the 2024 Clem World Championship map pool as being grossly Terran favored in this matchup. Yeah, I don't know if that's correct or not, but I feel like the maps there were like Crimson Court, the bloody map with the in base with only some minerals and gas. Some of those maps I thought were like grossly Terran favored, but I don't know if that actually plays out in the stats. You know, that's why you need someone who's a bit more data brained than I am to analyze that stuff. Oh, he's gonna take the left side third. Is Shin? Shin does lose a drone at the start, which is not great, but since it's a 2-Rax Reaper commitment, I don't think losing a drone is the end of the world, and he's already building 12 more Zerglings well before Ling Speed is finished off 19 drones. He's going all in. He's going to try and deny the command center. Wait, can he get... I think the command center lifts off, and as long as Maru has a wall off, he should be fine here, right? But he's not building an add-on. He's built a third command center and a factory before add-on. Okay, the add-on's just now starting. The Reaper goes past. It does see the Zerglings, but does he notice the Zerglings? He very well might have missed that. These Lings are going to distract him on the front, while at the same time, these Lings are going to counterattack. Dude, if that SCV finishes the command center, this is totally fine. But if not, I don't know, man. Shin is pretty all in right now, and he catches it! 99% complete! Maru, he needs to raise this depot right now. No, he's not going to raise the depot. He's going to try and get down there to finish it, but he doesn't mineral walk. The SCVs, he didn't mineral walk them. He needed to mineral walk there. Okay, he's going to sacrifice SCVs in order to finish the command center. He knows he can't let that get denied, but Link Speed's about to finish. He's already picked off 10 Zerglings and a Queen. Shin is headbutting right now like a desperate Zerg player who wants to do damage, but he is doing very good damage. 6 SCVs, 7 SCVs go down. Can he get number 8? No, he cannot. Maru needs to go back to the high ground, and he needs to swap that factory over and get Hellions building. If he can do that before these Links get up the ramp, which he can, he's going to be A-okay. And Shin now has to drone up off just 19 workers against a guy with 3 orbitals morphing. This is a massive advantage for Maru, assuming he knows how to repair a depot. Maru! What the hell? Why didn't he pull an SCV? The Reapers are solid. It might not be the end of the world because the Reapers can out-micro this, but he's going to lose at least 4 or 5 more SCVs. Maru, at the start of this series, made a big blunder. Again, he's made another big blunder. And Shin with just headbutting Zerg, YOLO aggression. And Maru just disrespecting the Zerglings. Just watches his depot goes down. That is an uncharacteristic mistake there. There's nothing else to say about that. Shin has headbutted in a shocking way, and he has caught Maru off guard. Maru, mentally reeling, makes an unforced error. And now, Shin on 3 hatcheries is on 36 drones. Those extra 5-6 SCVs make a massive difference in this game. He can't even afford non-stop SCV production right now, Maru. He's literally not producing out of one of his commands. He needs to non-stop produce workers to recover in this game. And you can see he's struggling. There's little gaps in his minerals because he's trying to get upgrades, trying to get stim. And those 5-6 SCVs make this next step so much easier. But now his barracks are going to be very slowed down while he has to just focus on SCVs for the next minute. Lings are going to go for another counterattack. If the Hellions catch it, it will be good. I think he sees it, and he does. That's really nice. Shin will have to run to the corner and evade. Shin, of course, doesn't have any tech, guys. He's just got 4 queens, 3 hatcheries, trying to build a few more queens right now. He's going to send an overlord in to see what's going on. We'll just see a pretty chilled out setup with not that many barracks. And I think that'll kind of just tell Shin where Maru's income is if he can see like a lack of barracks. But Maru's actually going to block him. 4 Marines happy to go to the edge. Shin probably shouldn't have sacrificed the overlord with 4 Marines on the edge. Could have sent it back to safety, but he is busy macroing up, building an Evo chamber, and going to that next step. Very quick 4th base, a great way to explode your lead. I think Shin's doing a really good job of saying, I have a lead, let's press the lead, press the advantage, push harder. This is one of the things people often ask me, what's the difference between, you know, masters and GM, especially low masters and high GM, and often it's understanding context and just little inflection points. The higher level you get, the more inflection points you're aware of, where you can go a little bit harder in this direction or that direction. Right now, Shin knows he's got an economic advantage, and he's going to press it for all it's worth. That can be dangerous, because he's got no Roachhorn, he's got no Bane Nest. Hellbats could potentially cause him big trouble. Luckily for him, Maru is not committing to Hellbats. Maru doesn't have any real surprise maneuvers. He's just going to go double upgrades. He's actually building an armory now, so he's thinking about maybe doing a Stim Marine Hellbat push, or maybe it's just to start 2-2. I think it's just to start 2-2, and he's just made it slightly early. Now, Maru's economy is not that far behind, 14 workers. The problem is, if Shin drones this base up right now, with no way of really securing the 3rd just yet. Like, he could move out to the 3rd, but it's kind of scary with so many Lings on the map. I mean, he could do it with the tank on the high ground and the Hellions staying at home, but for now, the Reaper Hellions on the map. The last Ling thinking about running in. Chadhammer on the high ground should keep this safe. There's still no wall off, which is insane. Not having replaced the wall off is crazy. Reaper Hellions going to get caught. Maru's got to get out of here. Decent zoning grenades, but not enough. The Hellions and the Reapers are getting jumped on. Shin, he's not stopping to attack. He's looking for the full wraparound. He will take out all of the Reapers, and then I think he'll back away now. Doesn't want to chase the Hellions around a corner where the Lings will stack up and get roasted. Lair is almost finished. Double upgrades are getting close to finished for Zerg. They're already done for Terran as 2-2 starts, and Maru has decided his win con. It's endgame, baby. That thing that he's kind of tried to avoid, other than Tourmaline, where I feel like he was doing well and probably would have if he stayed a bit more consolidated on 5 base for a bit longer and delayed his 6th. Would have worked out. Winter Madness. How does this map play in endgame, guys? I don't know. 4th base is here. 5th base is there. Like, there's decent range of attack angles, but there's also some really nice terrain where ledges and obstacles which tanks can hide behind. And if Terran gets a planetary out on this ledge, I think they're in a really, really good spot. It's hard for Zerg to find any good engagements once the Terran shuts down the middle of the map and has tanks everywhere. But Zerg can often get these middle and corner bases mined out before that happens, so really depends. And obviously that's a long shot, right? Because right now, massive supply momentum for Shin. He's on 80 drones. That 4th is saturated. 5th base is almost done. His creep spread's really good as well, a luxury he hasn't often had in this series. I do think he's kind of sloppy at respreading his creep in general in this series, but usually he's been playing from further behind. So I think in this game, he's got to be just a little bit tighter on that. As Hydras come out, this should be a little bit easier for him to just keep replenishing the creep, especially in the middle of the map. Where are his creep queens? Looks like he's kind of combined his creep and injecting queens all onto one control group, because they're all just kind of hanging around stacking injects right now. And that tells me that Shin doesn't really care about long term. There's no infestation. There's not a super big focus on creep. He wants a maximum army of Hydra Bane to go kill his opponent. He might wait for 2-2. Or maybe muscular augments on the Hydras. The infestation pit only now goes down. Shin, if he sees that 4th base going down, he might try to bust that before the planetary's up. He knows he's got momentum right now. Maru trying to get more barracks. Much heavier on reactors this game because there's no roaches. He's going to come forward. The Hellbats in the corner could be quite solid though. Hard to push into that from one side. Right side's very wide open. Like there's a spread of tanks. The Marine count is just not high. And Maru's making a mistake. He's not building Marines right now. If Maru builds another command center before building more Marines, he might just die. Maru has to queue more Marines. Okay, he's made a few, but notice he hasn't fully queued up. Like this reactor's only building one. When you want to play late game, you often want to skip barracks production for a little bit to build more tanks, more planetaries, more command centers, more SCVs. Problem is that Shin is far ahead right now on the army. So if you keep skipping Marine production like he is, and Shin just goes for a big bust, you're down like, already you're down 10, 15 Marines from where you could maybe be as Maru. And like I said, he's building more command centers with 37 supply free. Shin's not pushing, so if this pays off, if he doesn't get hit by Shin before max out, it pays off for Maru. But it's a gamble. It's one he's willing to take. He wants to play endgame. Wrestling drop's going to hit his natural right now. Drop over here, still dancing on the map. Shin's hive is quite delayed. I think Shin's wasted a lot of time here. I think he's wasted a lot of time. I really feel like you've been maxed for a while. If you're going to go for that push, you've got to either go for it sooner or get the hive up sooner. You've got the 2-2 now finishing. He's got those upgrades. It looks like it's go time. Ling drop going in the right side. Ling Bane coming in here to chase this drop away. There are right now 9 siege tanks, a pack of bio there. Not much bio on the left. These guys need to be on that left side. These tanks don't have anything defending them from Zerglings other than the planetary. Maru's whole army moving to the right. That's a mistake. He needs to be spread on the defense. And I think that left side base is an easy target maybe for Shin. But Shin, Ling Bane on the right, gets smashed, does nothing. The Ling drop comes in. It's also getting dealt with pretty well. It's more of a distraction than anything. This army needs to smash this planetary. He does catch it undefended. This is huge. Maru needs to evacuate the SCVs. He's very quick on that, and it looks like the SCVs will get away. The 2 tanks in the planetary will get blown up. Shin grabs a base, gets in, gets out. That's good damage. I don't think that's game-ending damage. There's another command center he can float over. Maru should be okay to absorb a few punches like that. He's just got to be careful because the mining time on the 4th, that's what kind of costs you. He's got to keep building command centers to replace these. And overall, I think Maru's greed on skipping Marines has paid off. He's at the point now where he's almost maxed. As long as he can defend the next wave well enough, and I think like an engineering bay here and here would be amazing. Create some choke points on the front line. That'd be great. That would be amazing, actually. Lurkaden's interesting. It looks like Shin's going to try and do backdoor Nidus Worm stuff. He's not really been doing that at all, so that's a big change-up. He's only got a single Viper, but even one Viper. We saw how good Vipers have been in this series. He's going to go again on this base before the planetary gets up. Ooh, yeah. Doesn't feel good about attacking to that much tank Marine Hellbat. And Maru, +2 vehicle weapons, 3-3 bio, all about to kick in. Libs are going to go into the back corner and deal with that drop. It's a good choice. The Marines are there as well, so if they try to escape, they will die. 2 these Marines. And Maru should be really happy with just getting rid of that vision, as well as any potential redrop of the Zerglings. Double Nidus Worm on the way. Shin's let this get dragged to the late game where we kind of assume Maru should be favored, but as I said, Zerg can take all of these corner and potential middle bases and start mining those out. And for Terran, even this 5th sticks out a little bit. You really want to get like a few more buildings, creating a choke point here and here so that you can leave this left side largely undefended. Like right now, if 20, 30 Zerglings run in from this choke, they can kill 4 or 5 siege tanks. This is an opening. If he gets another planetary here, it helps cover this. Once that's up, then Maru can expand to this top right corner and start actually looking to vie for even resources with Shin. Until then, he's just got to focus on being efficient and not giving Shin any easy angles. This left base still looks a little exposed with no buildings in front of it, no liberators or anything. It's a little dicey, and look at that blinding cloud. Double Blinding Cloud on 2 of the tanks. That's an easy snipe. Like I said, Ling's on the tanks. There's no Widow Mines, no Marines, no Hellbats to guard against Zerglings. That's a bunch of siege tanks in a base, and it's way too easy. Maru leaves an opening. Shin finds it, and he goes double Nidus at the same time. Maru! He's a bit slow to react here. Can he stop the double Nidus? Okay, that one will not be able to unload, but what about the one in the main? The bio is a little slow. Probably should have split his units up. He's going to try to get on top with the Marine Marauder. He's already overstimmed there. It's a lot of lurkers popping out. This is a real struggle at the same time. Shin says, let's overload him. Attack the right as well. Ken Maru split in 2 places at once. The ghosts get blown up, but not much else. It's a lot of Ling Bane for not too much profit. But it's the lurkers in the main that could turn this into a real success, potentially. Overseer comes in, allowing these lurkers to fight back. The Queen pops out. Big Mama's house. She said, this is my house! She pops out, but I think now as all the bio comes back, you got to just get back in these Nidus worms. The lurkers will go down. The Niduses will fall. Unit slots tab tells us that is an 8,000 advantage for Maru. The problem is this base getting denied and him not entrenching this position. Like I said, if this is a planetary and he can get like a few Widow Mines, he needs a bit of anti-Zergling on this side or full wall-offs, one or the other. And then he can focus most of his defenses on this base, which is, of course, the more exposed and vulnerable base, which he's now going to repair. The trick for Maru is you've got to try and deny the Niduses in the back and then defend 2 distant points on the front without overcommitting to one side. Oh, and that's a dead planetary. Nice move here for Shin. Planetary going down on its own is not the end of the world. Problem is we didn't make him pay a big price for it. That's what hurts Shin there. Planetary comes back up on the left side. Also, sometimes getting a building or 2 here or a building here to like obstruct these areas. A few engineering bays are the best value in terms of hit points for cost. But if you're going to build command centers anyway, you can put extra command centers. Orbitals are nice because you can lift them just before they die as well. Having an extra planetary here or there can be good. This left side I still feel is quite vulnerable to Zerglings. And it feels like just, if we just look at the system, all of the mobile Marine Ghost is on one control group, and Maru, normally a success in endgame is based off him not F2ing. It feels like he's F2ing, not really F2ing, but he's sending the mobile army from one side to the other side, from one side to the other side. And if Shin ever catches him out of position a little too committed to one side, it's a big opening, and that's what's scary. You can see now the tank spread's amazing. Shin doesn't really have a long-term game plan. He's just going to keep trying to catch you out of position, smashing your bases, while forward mining and mining these bases out, which he's done a pretty good job of. He's transferring quite a few workers to the corners and the middle bases. He's even taking that middle base. If he mines out all the middle bases, he can probably swamp you in the long run. So Maru needs to really cement a defensive position and then start denying this top right corner. That's what he's going to start doing. Overseer sneaks down the left. No turrets on that left side. Oh, that's a blunder. Maru leaves himself wide open. Clem likes to sometimes leave himself open so you waste money on Nidus Worms. That's only if you have absolute faith in your multitasking. He's going to send every ghost back to defend this, which I guess they're the best for dealing with lurkers, but definitely a lot of ghosts to not be on the front line. The Nidus Worms will go down. He should kill the Overseer as well, surely, and build turrets to make sure he's good for the next one. Here comes Hydraling Bane again, busting through the Lib tank, getting a big base snipe and the SCVs. Very nice move there for Shin. Shin on this right side, though. He's losing mining on this side, so busting the left is huge. If Maru overcommits to denying the top right, he might leave himself exposed, and you can not just kill this base, but this base here is wide open. He never cemented that weak spot we were talking about. Where's the planetary? You need some anti-Zergling here, some Widow Mines, some Hellbats, some Marines, some Ghosts. You need something that deals with the Zerglings on the front with the siege tanks, and potentially a wall-off is that answer. Otherwise, you need to split some Marine Hellbat over there. Maru needs to lock down that left side. Right now, this is such an easy attack angle for Shin. And Maru's not doing massive damage. Shin's doing an amazing job of just keeping him out of this top right corner. It's not like Shin's going to hang on to the top right forever, but he's wasting a lot of Maru's attention and time here. And look at that. Maru leaves these tanks exposed. How the hell did Shin know that was exposed? What great game sense. These units moved out of position. He gets the tanks and libs, runs in, runs out with the Blinding Clouds. His Viper usage has been absolutely amazing. Yes, the Nidus Worms have been getting cleaned up, but it's costing a lot of money and time. And look at this, another wide open Maru. He's trying to expand to both sides at once, but he needs to focus on efficiency on the bases he has rather than trying to take this 6th base in the top right. 6th base can't be as important as stopping this base from taking damage. The efficiency has already fallen massively. He's only 9,000 ahead. You might think, well, only 9,000, isn't that a lot? Yeah, but remember, he was up that much ages ago, and Shin's actually finding weakness on him while Shin's mining 4 of the shared middle bases. So by not securing this angle, you're actually taking your attention away from being able to deny this top right, and Shin is profiting big time off of this. This is really good plays by Shin. Maru, I like this move though. It's going to counter. Oh, Lynx can't deal with that. Great positioning behind the mineral line. There's no Hydras there. He's going to really struggle, but 2 command centers are found sticking out a little bit here. Maru's going to lose 2 of these command centers. That is, well, 1 command center. The other one should be repaired as long as Maru can focus on it. This base will go down, and that is one of the important bases. The problem I see is that Maru just seems to be more focused on playing a multitasking war rather than locking down that weak point on the left that keeps on biting him in the butt. And until he locks that down, Shin is always going to have a very easy angle to trade on this left side base. And once again, dives with the heavy Zergling army. Libs and tanks do not deal with heavy Zergling. The bio tries to drop there, but that's a good trade for Shin. Look at that. 18 workers, gets in the third as well, potentially. Finds himself a few more siege tanks. These Lings are free. Shin has endless money, and he's taking actual positive trades with these Zerglings, which is wild at this stage of the game. A lot of your goal as the Terran is locking the Zerg out of any easy attack angles. And Maru, he's leaving a few angles hanging out. He's got to be tighter than this. He's got to build himself the Maginot line. He's got to build himself an impregnable defensive line. It's funny I say the Maginot line, because that's the one that got busted really quickly historically. But you know, he has to build a better version of the Maginot line, doesn't he? Right now he's building the Maginot line. He needs a better one. He's trying to take this base. I don't think it's as important as defending the left side. As long as he's denying the mining on these bases, that's more important. But Maru, I think, feels a lot more pressure about these bases mining out. He feels the shared resources on these middle bases kind of ticking down. And he knows that every resource Shin mines is a resource he will not get to mine later on in the game. If Shin can, like, just take all the minerals and gas before you deny these positions, Shin's in a big lead. Hydraling Bane coming forward. Vipers as well. Tanks are going down. Bane's rolling towards the Ghosts really nicely. And he's going to find another command center up here. Beautiful play here for Shin. And if Shin could use his Remax to hit that left side, it's still wide open. And the Nidus is in the back. It's formulaic from here. It feels like for Shin, unless Maru gets, like, a massive army advantage and then just does one giant push, you just Remax hit the left, Remax hit the right, Remax hit the left, Remax hit the right. It's not something where you need to do anything too complicated from this stage as the Zerg. Until Maru seals the left side, he's going to be open to that. Shin, though, Remaxing on the right side. He's only sending a few Zerglings to the left, which, a few Zerglings might do damage if they get past the Libs. Still going to force Maru to move a lot of units over there. And these guys are 3/3 Adrenal Zerglings. They do pretty crazy damage against these SCVs. Let's force a scan there on the right side. A few Ghosts in the open. Hydra's trying to run forward. I don't think there's any Fungals or anything here. Ooh, nice Blinding Cloud with the Viper, though. These Vipers have been so good, haven't they? Dude, his Viper usage is great. He's spamming Niduses in the back. Shin is keeping Maru busy. You can see, even though Maru is giving such easy attack angles for Shin, he is trading a lot better now. He's not really lost many Ghosts. How many? He's lost 4 Ghosts this game. He's up 13,000 in the resources lost, so he's starting to get a bit more efficient because Shin's headbutting on the right side. Shin needs to keep attacking the left, but I think Maru might have actually fixed that. And that's still very wide open. It's only tanks and libs on the left. There's still that same opening. Maru hasn't corrected it. Ooh, big parabomb here for Shin. Maru does split, though. Good reaction speed. Maulings getting inside the main base once again. Maru's trying to siege tanks just to cover most of these mains to deny future Nidus Worms. Marauder runs to the top right. Lingbane Hydra running in here as well. Maru just cannot get beyond this position, and in fact, he's overextending so much that he actually loses this position as well. Like, the planetary does it. Oh my gosh, the planetary goes down. Not only does he lose the tanks, he also loses the planetary. There's more Niduses going up in the main, and Shin is just basically... He's not even taking advantage of this left side, which, like I said, third, wide open to Zerglings. This base, wide open to Zerglings. He's not even doing that, and he's still busting Maru, and not on that 8 Corruptors. Oh, the Corruptors are coming. The 4 Lib, 7 Medevac. If those go down, Maru cannot afford to replace them. If the Corruptors clear the air units in the next trade, Maru is dead. He's out of the game. If this base gets denied and he loses his air units to the Corruptors, it's actually lights out. Shin will make history in this game and win his first ever competitive best-of series against Maru. Maru overextends with the Marauders, not watching, loses them all, doesn't even get the hatchery snipe. Great trade there for Shin. Corruptors get away from those Ghosts in time. At the same time, Zerglings and Lurkers running this left side. You can see that base, it's been wide open all game long. Maru has not plugged the hole, and water just keeps on flowing out of that sinkhole on that left side. He is losing resources there time and again. The Corruptors do not find the air units, but the entire bio army got moved to the left. and the Corruptors are going to clear the libs. The Lingbane Hydra takes a costly trade, but it clears a lot of tanks, and if he can deny this base, that's probably going to be game-ending. The Lurk is still wasting time on the left side. You can see here, catching tanks in the open again and again. The Overseers coming forward. A lot of Overseers and Ghosts. Ghosts sniping the Overseers. Ghosts sniping the Corruptors and the Hydras. That was, man, the Ghost just got some friggin' value right there. But Maru can't afford to replenish the libs. He's down to 5 medevacs. These Ghosts, if they get caught by these Infestors and Ultras that are remaxing, that is going to be a problem. Ultras are terrible against Ghosts. Guys, why is he building Ultras? I'll tell you why. Because Ultras are a great way to spend your money and A-move someone who's already halved it. Ultras are an easy way to just overwhelm and finish. If you can get on top, they're good against everything else. Now that the lib count's low, especially, except the Ghost. But if you can get enough Lingbane on the Ghost so they're not sniping, the Ultras will smash through everything else. There's only 12 Ghosts. They don't have unlimited energy. And this is 8 Ultras, I believe it was. 7 Ultras on the Remax. Chitinous Plating's not quite ready, though. He forgot that upgrade. It's on the way now. He's still got a good army of Lingbane Hydra. If he could deny this northern base, it's completely wide open. He could send 3 Zerglings there and kill the entire mineral line. But he's going to try and fight front on. Corruptors will take out the medevacs here. They try to boost away. Maru needs big snipes. He's going to snipe the Ultras on that choke point a little bit, but they are so tanky. Can the Ghost get a few more snipes off? A few tanks get busted. The medevacs go down. Terrible fight for Shin. That was an appallingly bad fight for Shin. Shin, please do not throw this game. You're about to make history. He lands a good fungal, though, on the counter. That's where he gets a good little engage, gets a few Marauders. But attacking down this choke point, it's a death sentence. If he puts 2 Zerglings here, he denies Maru's entire income. He finally realizes Maru has been mining off an indefensible base directly next to him. All he needed to do was deny that mining and force Maru up this choke point. He could have taken a much better trade, but he's been headbutting down this angle. Shin just threw away a crazy amount of resources. Shin, please do not chuck a Zerg. You are now down 21,000. The resources lost. You have this game in the bag. You are so... It's unlosable. But he's a Zerg player, guys, and I've thrown games from here so many times, and especially if you're up against someone who's in your head, who you know you've never beaten in a best of series, if you're fighting for a spot in the GSL finals, I just feel for Shin, because he really is one of us, guys. He is one of us. He is the Zerg player who finds ways to win while not being as fast as a lot of the other top pros. Yes, his average APM 620. Who knows what foul wizardry he's using to make that happen. But he's actually done this with tactics, with strategy, with fantastic builds. But he needs to break this position. Here we go! Infestor's coming forward. He does not land good fungals. All 3 Infestors get hammered. The libs are going to go down. The Ultraling Bane needs to get on the Ghost. The Ghosts don't have energy. There's no energy on the Ghost, man. Maru just doesn't have enough Ghost to even snipe the Ultras. An Ultra bust down the ramp, clearing those siege tanks as well, guys. Ultras from all sides. Lings are in the mineral line, and that's where the real damage might be happening. 12 SCVs go down. The Ghosts are completely out of energy. Can Shin's Remax overwhelm Maru before these Ghosts get more energy? Maybe, maybe not. I don't even know, man. This is insanity. There's only a 50 supply gap now, and Shin's gas bank is gone. His mineral bank is still there with 2,500 minerals, but it's starting to run low. He's almost down to lava as well. Shin, he's got this base back up. He's not really been transferring workers. This base died, so he's lost the minerals there. That base is still partially mining. He's got a few minerals coming in, but it's not a crazy amount. And it will be drying up eventually. Of course, Maru doesn't have many total overall resources he can mine either. Nidus could go up on top of the siege tank in the minimum firing range. That's a very annoying move, putting those right there. The Lings are going to come in. He could put some on these workers. It's probably worth it. A lib will take forever to kill them, but he doesn't go for it. Shin, of course, going past, looking for a more vulnerable target there. And he's going to try and run away with these Zerglings. Double Nidus. Unfortunately, there's nothing to pop out of those. But there we go. Zerglings and Hydras will come out, clear the siege tank, and cause more havoc. And you know he wants to bust this top right, but honestly, he could just bust this left side in here. I feel like for Shin, Corruptors are still looking for openings. There's a missile turret there. Snipes could also be good on these Corruptors as well, but every snipe is sacred. Ultra Lings in the main. The production of Maru getting breached. Maru doesn't want to give up the right side, so he moves his army to the right. He was expecting the Nidus to be a distraction, but Shin says, well, if you're not going to respond to it, I might as well just flood into your production. My mineral advantage here. Zerglings are not that good into a lot of fights, but if they're on your buildings, they will rip your base down almost instantly. Absolutely cinema for the Zerg fans out there. So many Zerglings in the base. Maru tries to take that new base in the middle, but he's lost all of his production. He's just lost thousands and thousands of minerals worth of infrastructure in the main base. Lings clearing a tank here as well. We've got Infestor, throws a little fungal before he goes down. The Hydras and Corruptors trying to take care of the command center. They might be able to. Lings in the main still doing a lot of damage there. Does the command center go down? I think it will. Lings are also ransacking the northern mineral line. There's an Infestor that pops up from below, throws a fungal. There's nothing there to seal the deal, but does it matter? Maru is basically just 11 commandos, 2 medevacs and a dream right now. I don't care if each one of these is Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't care if that's Sylvester Stallone. I don't care who the hell else is there. These guys can be all of the dumb action hero friggin' luck and plot armor in the world. They are not going to take down a Zerg Swarm covering the entire map like this. Shin actually smothering Maru in the late game. Maru not able to lock down the defenses. It's so crazy to see Maru, the Turtle King, just not able to lock down his bases as well as we're used to. Shin just kept finding the openings. I think the constant Niduses, the really pivotal attacks, the constantly using Zerglings to bust only tank and lib defense on this left side. Tanks and libs wreck Banelings, they wreck Hydras, they don't do well against pure Zerglings, and Shin was really clever about constantly hitting that left side, running into this third with heavy Zergling, as well as using those Lurkers and the Niduses to cause maximum distraction. This was a really beautiful game for Shin, off the back of a beautiful series. And remember, we saw it earlier on in game 2 when he fell behind in that game, and he almost fought back. I mean, that was an impressive... He's been kind of playing really well against Maru, even when he's in a pretty bad position in this series today, and that's really impressive. I think he really deserves this victory. Now, this is Maru, so it's not over yet. But if we look at the mining, it's adjacent. It's adjacent to being over. There's no production, man. This is his production. It's 2 barracks with tech labs, 2 factories. Like, what? He's got nothing else. He can build a few tanks and a few marines at a time. The Lings are going to find all these SCVs from the left side. This is so good for him. He can deny this infrastructure on the left as well. You go over here and steal the minerals and gas later if you really want to. This base is fresh. And Shin's finally saturated workers on it, realizing, oh, right, your whole attention's over here. He's still got a few minerals here, a few minerals here. Shin's got plenty of minerals left on this map. He is maxed. He's up 100 supply. The question is, how does he finish? He doesn't want to go into a spready of tank lib with Banelings, so he's going to keep hitting the left with the Lings. And I think the idea would be if you can come forward with Infestors and catch these ghosts rotating back to the right side in this area, that would be game ending. He's going to attack through the middle again. That ramp on that right side, very deadly, but there's just not enough support for it. The rocks finally go down from all the Banelings that have blown up next to it. Going down that ramp again and again. Banelings are on top of those ghosts, but the ghosts spread backwards. The Ling Hydrocopter will pull away to the top right. Doesn't want to overextend into these snipey snipes. You can kind of see how one good fungal could catch these ghosts and it would be game over. Shin sees the same thing. He's building 3 Infestors right now. Command Center is going to try to land up here, but it's a 70 supply Terran. Some would say Maru is huffing copium. I would say Maru has made comebacks from insane positions before, and it's worth it staying in here against a guy that you've never dropped a series to before. Holy moly, he's just going to tap out right there, realizing he is checkmated. There's no way he can hang on here, guys. There's just no way. We can rewind a few seconds, see where were his ghosts there. Yeah, I mean, he kills the hatchery. He just doesn't have an answer. He's going to lose his depots, his production. He can't afford to rebuild depots in this game. Great multi-prong, and Maru just realizes it's over. He taps out. Shin makes history here. Wins his first ever best of series against Maru over more than 10 years of competing against each other. And he makes it to the GSL Grand Finals. Hats off to Shin. Legendary performance.